Emily Carter stood frozen at gate 32, her toddler clinging to her leg, her diaper bag slipping off her shoulder, and panic rising in her throat. The announcement echoed again, last call for Flight 719 to Seattle. She looked at the boarding pass, gate 12, but she was at 32. Her heart dropped. She had boarded the wrong flight. Before she could speak up, the flight attendant gently said, "Ma'am, you're the last passenger. Please take your seat so we can depart." Too tired to argue and too embarrassed to explain, Emily shuffled down the aisle with her wide-eyed daughter, Lily, and sank into the only 2 seats left, right beside a sharply dressed man with cold eyes and a wall around his demeanor. He barely glanced at her. But this simple mistake was about to change both their lives. Emily was a waitress from a small town in Idaho, barely making ends meet. After saving for over a year, she had planned a trip to Portland to take Lily to see her estranged grandmother before her memory faded completely from Alzheimer's. The plan was tight. The budget tighter. Now she was on a plane to San Francisco. She whispered apologies as Lily bumped the man's leg, spilled her juice, and cried midair. Emily looked at him with apologetic eyes. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "This wasn't our flight." The man, who hadn't spoken a word so far, glanced over, saw the weary look in her eyes, and paused. "You boarded the wrong plane." She nodded, cheeks red. He didn't respond with frustration or mockery. Instead, he asked the flight attendant for a warm towel for the baby and offered Emily his blanket. Something in him softened. His name was Ethan Blake. Unknown to Emily, he was the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar tech company headquartered in San Francisco. His face was barely known, he avoided the spotlight, consumed by work and buried in loneliness since losing his wife 3 years earlier. He hadn't spoken to a child since then. He hadn't smiled genuinely in years. But Lily's innocent questions and Emily's quiet strength chipped away at his solitude. She wasn't like anyone he'd ever met, humble, grateful for the smallest kindness, and carrying a world of responsibility on tired shoulders. As the plane landed, Ethan did something he hadn't done in years. He offered help, not as a CEO, but as a man who felt a flicker of purpose again. "You can't get to Portland tonight," he said after learning of her mistake. "But let me help." Emily shook her head. "No, thank you. I've managed this far." But when she tried booking another flight, her card was declined. Tears welled up in her eyes, though she tried to hide them from Lily. That's when Ethan stepped in. He booked her a hotel, ordered room service, and arranged for a new flight the next morning. "Not charity," he told her gently. "Just, something I think your daughter would do for mine, if things were reversed." Emily stared at him. "You have a daughter?" "I did," he said, voice tight. "She and my wife passed in a car accident. Since then, I've avoided people. But I think I needed to meet you." The next morning, Ethan surprised Emily at the hotel. "I was thinking," he said, "what if you didn't have to struggle so much?" He offered her a job, no strings, no pity, managing outreach for his company's charity arm. "You're strong, empathetic. People like you should be leading, not surviving." Emily cried. For the first time in years, not out of despair, but relief. Months passed. Emily moved to San Francisco with Lily. She blossomed in her new role, helping single parents and struggling families through the foundation. Ethan, once buried in grief, laughed again, especially when Lily called him Uncle Ethan. They had boarded the wrong flight, but found the right path. Sometimes, the wrong turns lead us to the right people. Emily boarded the wrong flight, thinking she was lost. But fate sat her beside a man who had everything yet felt nothing, until a poor single mom and her bubbly little girl reminded him what it meant to live, to feel, to care again. Their meeting wasn't luck. It was life's way of weaving hope into heartbreak. Because when kindness takes the seat beside you, your whole life can take off. Let this story be a reminder: kindness is never wasted, and the smallest missteps can lead to the most beautiful destinations.